Right, oh, I've lost me notes. La 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 la. We're on. Hello and welcome to the Tars Henry Channel Show. Tars Henry Channel Show. It's great to be here. It's great to see you. I hope you're all right. Thanks for coming. Welcome to the show. I've got a show. I've got a TV show. When us oldies who are in our 40s were growing up in the 80s, the idea of us, like everybody, having a camera, having a phone, a mobile phone with a camera in it that they could film their own YouTube show, that's ridiculous. That was ridiculous. And anyway, yeah, that's just a ridiculous idea. So welcome to the future. Welcome to the future. You're here. Right. So I hope you're okay. Hope you're all right. It's been a bit of a shocker of a week for a lot of people, for a lot of reasons. For many, you know, you have to in this modern world, we have to compartmentalize, and we have to do that a lot. I don't think I need to make excuses or explain away, but I just want to keep my show short, sharp, and to the point. I just want to make a little 10-minute weekly show. I'm going to keep it light, but as you know from, if you've seen episode 16, it's not like I'm not aware of what's going on in the wider world, okay? So we're all in this together, okay? And I'll just finish that up by saying it's wonderful to see that there's lots of racists being arrested. Okay, so that's fantastic. But anyway, let's quickly move on. So in episode 15 of the Tars Henry Channel Show, the word Tallywhacker came up last week. And so I talked about the etymology of the word Tallywhacker, but I hadn't actually done the research yet. I hadn't looked into the etymology of the word. I have now. I've done a little bit of research. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Hayley, what a dear old pal of mine. You're right, Hayley. This is a shout out from me to you, shouting out. That's all you need to do, isn't it? You just say it's a shout out, and then you say the person's name, and that's a shout out. So shout out to Hayley. Thank you for getting in touch, Hayley. Thank you for your comment underneath episode 15 of my show. You actually were pretty accurate with your explanation. I'm just going to read, I hope Hayley doesn't mind, but I'm just going to read a little bit of what she said. I'm just going to quote. So perhaps, this is some of what Hayley said, perhaps men like to tally their accomplishments, and their whacker is whacking, i.e. beating the tallies of other possessors of tallywhackers. So their list of accomplishments is beating the lists of accomplishments of other people. Okay, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I appreciate that. I like what you did there. Thank you. The Oxford English Dictionary has some interesting resources on the word, so let's have a look at that. Okay, so here on the OED, that's the Oxford English Dictionary, the pronunciations of the word Tallywhacker are here. Look, we've got
Tallywhacker,
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 Tallywhacker, and then here we go in Americanese.
Tallywhacker.
See, that is good.
Tallywhacker.
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 That's right, baby. That's right.
Tallywhacker.
You keep telling me what it's called.
Tallywhacker.
Anyway, okay, we'll stop that. Okay, one more time for that.
Tallywhacker.
Hello. Lovely. Okay. The Oxford English Dictionary also, in terms of meaning and use, basically, the light's gone off. That's going to happen. I'm not going to, at this point, I can't keep, it's coming on. It turns itself off, then a little blue light comes on, then I can turn it back on again. It's just, it's a little, Shit, it's a little shit, this light, but I don't know why it's doing it. Maybe it's overheating, I'm not quite sure. Anyway, so meaning and use, the Oxford English Dictionary says, slang, the penis. Also, occasionally, and in earliest use, a stupid, annoying, or otherwise objectionable person. Okay, especially a man, it says. So 1925, I'll heave a rock at that tallywhacker if I meet him. Okay, so that sounds like you're talking about an objectionable man. 1954, a woman is mighty lucky to marry a man with a fine big tallywhacker. Okay, like I got. So that's V. Randolph, Pissing in Snow, 1976. I have no idea what that is. Okay, so 2012, let's face it, you're a total tallywhacker. Right, so now if you go to the Urban Dictionary, so this is the Urban Dictionary has some good stuff to say, and this particular explanation is really quite similar to what Hayley came up with. So you were pretty bang on the money there, Hayley, so well done. A length of rope used to count sheep. The shepherd would tie a knot every 10 sheep. If one slowed up, he would whack them with the tally rope. Okay, so I did think that tally might be something to do with counting. The shepherd would tie a knot every 10 sheep, and if one slowed up, he'd whack them with the tally rope. So you're tallying the sheep, you're whacking, you're tallying and whacking. According to the Urban Dictionary, there's a couple of other explanations. The tallywhacker is something used to siphon gas out of a car. Wow, that guy just stuck his tallywhacker in a gas tank. Sounds a bit rude. I often stuff my own anus with my tallywhacker. I often stuff my own anus with my tallywhacker. I often stuff my own anus with my tallywhacker. Okay, I just want to make it clear that I'm reading that from the Urban Dictionary. Okay, that's not a statement, I'm reading that. Okay, so that's a way of using the word tallywhacker. It's not saying what it is or what the etymology is, but it's just describing a use of the word. Okay, slang, the male copulatory organ, the term very popular in rugger-bugger piss-ups. At the piss-up after winning the Rugby World Cup, Johnny Wilkinson waved his tallywhacker at the Australians. Okay, so that's enough of that. So tallywhacker. Now, in the interest of fairness, I was on the lookout for an interesting word for a vagina. And I don't know how YouTube's going to feel about all this, but I did find a word that was very interesting, but I'm pretty sure it's a reductive and it's a reductive word, and in the sense of being reductive, I feel like it's a bit offensive. However, it's quite weird and quite funny, so I'm gonna say it. I heard somebody at work saying, so when you're on nest, you know, you're not even thinking about it when you're on nest, when you're up to your nuts in guts. When you're up to your nuts in guts, when you're on nest, you know. So now, you would never hear me speaking like that. I just want to make it clear, I would never speak like that. And I would never describe a vagina as a nest. But I just think, I do think it's relevant here, isn't it? It's relevant here, so I might say it. Maybe I'll delete that, but I don't know. I think maybe you'll thank me for leaving it in. When you're on nest, yeah, you're not thinking about that when you're on nest, are you? You're not thinking about how much petrol's in your car when you're on nest. So yeah, that's the etymology of the word tallywhacker, and let's say a companion word, nest. Okay, right. Something really exciting happened to me last week. I was driving along, right? I was driving my lorry last week, and I was just leaving Ilkeston, and there was this massive thump on my window, and I didn't know what had happened, but I looked in the mirror and I could see loads of feathers flying around behind me in the wake of my lorry. So I thought, okay, so a bird's hit me. Oh, poor bird, I hope it's okay. 45 minutes later, I arrived in Mansfield, and the traffic management my friend who works in traffic management, she came round up to the side of my lorry and said, "Oh, you've got a passenger." And I was like, I immediately knew what she meant. So I got out of my lorry, and I could see this pigeon was like jammed underneath like a tube, like squashed onto like this like big metal rod behind a can of something with a tube over it, and this poor little pigeon was like rammed into this thing and underneath it, and I was like, how am I going to get this dead body off the side of my lorry? Oh, that's horrible. This is horrible. I don't want to touch it. I don't know if it's safe, but anyway, I put my work gloves on and I thought, right, I'm going to have to get this thing out. And then as I got closer, I could see it was breathing. So this thing had been there for 45 minutes and I did not want to touch it, especially now it was breathing. Now I realised it was alive. I was worried that it was horribly, horribly wounded and perhaps even like half cooked on top of a like really hot metal bar. I was worried that I was going to take this pigeon off and like half of it was going to stay like roasted onto the side of my lorry. It was a very freaky situation. I was a bit worried. So I put my gloves on and I didn't want to touch this thing, but I started to move this like tube that was over the top of it and it was flapping about a bit, and I was freaking out. I'll be honest, I wasn't being very brave, but I mean I was being brave, because being brave is when you're frightened but you're doing it anyway. If you're freaked out but you do the thing that you're freaked out about, that is actually being brave. If you're not frightened, that's not being brave. If you're not frightened of something when you do it, you're not being brave because you're not frightened. Now, I'm not calling myself brave, but I'm a bit brave. I mean, it was brave because I was frightened. But anyway, so it was trying to go forwards through the gap, but there was no room. It couldn't go forwards. I needed it to go back, but so I like had to lift this tube up and then like push its head back and tuck its wing under. And anyway, long story short, it's too late for that, it's a long story, but it like came out and it flew off. It rustled its feathers and it flew off. It did have a bit of a knackered wing, and I tried to give it some like crunched up Eat Natural bar, but it wasn't interested. It was just a bit frightened and it just flew. It ran off and then it flew away from me. So it was 45 minutes from home. I'm imagining pigeons are quite good at finding their way home, but obviously with a bit of a knackered wing, I don't fancy its chances. Some people were saying the best thing to do is like snap its neck because you're putting it out of its misery because it's got a broken wing. And I just was thinking, if I had a broken arm, right, I wouldn't want someone to be like, snap his neck, just snap his neck, put him out of his misery. That's not the kind of thing that I would like. And also, if you're not a doctor, I don't want you snapping my neck, but also I don't want you to try and fix my arm either. And I'm not a doctor or a vet. So I think I did what the pigeon would have wanted me to do, which is get it off my lorry, get it free, and then let it go. And I did that. And I've got a video of it. Okay, so here's a video of me last week saving a pigeon. Right, let's get you back out this way. It's not going to be able to get out this way. Right, it's going to have to go. Catch the pigeon! Catch the pigeon!
Every office is called
Come on,
Pidgeon.
Okay.
You got
There
it.
you go. Oh, thanks for that.
You got it over there. Yeah, look, it's flying and all.
Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this week's show. It's been lovely talking to you. As I said in episode 15 and 16 of my show, I've been getting loads and loads of fan mail. Bags and bags and bags and bags of fan mail. And I don't even know where to put it all. This week, I don't think I haven't got time this week to go through my fan mail. So I was going to read you some of my fan mail, but unfortunately we don't have time this week. So we don't have time this week. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this week's show. It's been lovely talking to you. Appreciate you very much. Thank you for coming and thank you for watching my show. I love you. And I hope you're all right. So you take care of yourself, and I'll see you next week on the Tars Henry Channel Show. Goodbye.
The Tars Henry Channel Show.